All right. So let's wait 1 second here. Okay. Actually, I like this thing down. There we go. It allows me to hear myself better when I got the headset on like this. But a little late, but I like to get some predictions in, whether I'm writing something on Facebook or I'm posting something on YouTube or online or something. I like to get a couple predictions in before the start of the fight. So we're going to start down here at the bottom. And I'm going to go on to say, Cynthia Calvillo, I don't know how she pronounces her last name, versus Lupi. I think Lupi is going to win that fight. Don't really know how, probably a decision, but we'll see what happens. I've never seen Carl Williams fight. I've seen Chase Sherman fight a ton of times. Chase Sherman is he he's at the end of his career for sure. He went to bare knuckle fighting. He came back to UFC after he did pretty well in bare knuckle fighting. This guy here, I think, is like 8-1. This Carl Williams guy, yeah, 8-1-0, and he looks like he came in as the underdog. How did I get here? What in the world happened? There we go. He looks like he came in at a plus 190, and now he's like a minus three something. I can't comment too much on the fight, just simply because I know Chase, I don't know Carl. But if the typical Chase shows up where he doesn't want to throw down, you know, he's not focused, he's not going to win. I like Chase, but I don't. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. You got Joe Pfeiffer versus Mearshart. I watched this Pfeiffer kid on the Contender Series, and he's good for sure. But I think that people sleep on Mearshart. I think he's had some tough fights where he's gotten clipped, but you don't get the most submissions in UFC history by being a slouch, and it's kind of disrespectful to make him an underdog in this. And in my opinion, yeah, the kid's hot. He's coming off the Contender Series, this Joe Pfeiffer kid, but I think he gets submitted. I think Pfeiffer gets submitted. That's my prediction, and I've got money on it. I'm not advising you to do it if you don't want to, but I've got money on Mearshart by submission. Michelle Watterson, yeah, she's hit or miss for sure. She's the kind of girl that she throws, like, you can see like the combos that she learns, the left right leg kick combo, or she learns these combos and she'll throw them even if she didn't connect her jab. She misses her jab, her left, misses her right, and then misses her kick. But it's the combo that was ingrained in her, so she'll throw it, And then she's got this tough Brazilian with one loss that's gonna fight her. It's gonna be a tough fight for Michelle, I think. Chris Curtis, Calvin Gastelum. I have been the biggest Calvin Gastelum. He is one of my favorite fighters since he was on The Ultimate Fighter and won it against Uriah Hall. I love the kid. I think he's a good dude. He's got a lot of heart. He's tough to get out of there, and it's that psycho. I've never lost it. I'm good mentality that allowed him to put Adesanya through hell. Alex Pieta may have TKO'd Adesanya and won the championship, but nobody has ever done the damage that Calvin did to Adesanya. Calvin's my boy. I love him, and he will fight tooth and nail to win. And so, got to give my fight to my boy Calvin. Chris Curtis, he's a good dude too, but I don't think it'll be his night. He's got some hands though. He can get a knockout, but it's gonna be tough to knock out a guy that doesn't get knocked out. Raul, this kid's cool. You know, he's young, he's a baby. Fighting this guy who's had, I think, one or two fights in UFC. One of them was a loss. One of them was a win, I think. And yeah, I mean, it's a tough fight to call. I didn't look at his professional career before UFC, but he all right, I'll say it. I put money on Christian Rodriguez, and I don't know anything about him, but we also don't know that much about Raul, other than the fact that he came off the Contender Series. He's young, he's Dana's baby so far, and he might be a little overrated. I gotta say, he might be. He's a great little wrestler, but he's still young, man. I hope he doesn't get beat, but I think he might. I'm not saying it's going to be Christian Rodriguez, but yeah, it's going to be tough for him to climb the ranks right away. He's so young. There's got to be a lot of experience that he's missing at 18, 19 years old, you would think, but who knows. Kevin Holland, Santiago Ponzinibbio. Whoever shows up, shows up. We'll see. It'll be a good fight. I like both those guys. But I mean, it's anybody can have it in my opinion. And I didn't bet on that fight. I don't know who's gonna win. Rob Font, Adrian Yanez. Listen, Yanez is my guy. I love the kid since his first fight in the UFC. He's got hands. One of the best boxers, in my opinion, in UFC. And the guy right above him, people have compared him, to Jorge Masvidal. But I would have to say that Yanez has better boxing than Jorge. I might get some hate for that, but you gotta watch the tape. Okay, watch the tape. I think Yanez he's sharp, dude. But again, they're disrespecting Rob Font. You guys realize that Rob Font has lost to like only really really good fighters, like Jose Aldo and stuff. He's smoked quite a few people. I mean, he's beat quite a few people. He's beat some real guys, and Yanez has yet to fight some top guys. He's done extremely well in the fights that he has, but we'll see if he's sharp enough to take Rob Font out of there. I have this weird thing where I feel like if I bet on people that I want to win, they lose. So I did bet on Rob Font, not because I want him to win, but because I think that they're disrespecting him, and I think Rob Font has the. I think now you're getting up there, Adrian. Now you're getting up there. It's not just boxing that wins you MMA fights. It's the whole package, and Rob Font, he's been through it. He's been through the wars with some of the greats, and little disrespectful to make him the underdog, in my opinion. But let's go Yanez. I hope the kid gets the win. Gilbert Burns, Jorge Masvidal. Let's keep giving Jorge fights he doesn't deserve. I disrespect Jorge Masvidal every single time I get on the internet, and he's the kind of guy that'll find me and beat the shit out of me, and he doesn't even know me, and I'm not even popular by anybody, but he certainly would beat the shit out of me, that's for sure. But Jorge's great. I used to like him a lot. I met the short hair fighting Stephen Thompson. That Jorge Masvidal was the guy I liked because he wasn't talking as much as he does now, and this persona that he's got now. I don't know if he was faking then or if he's faking now, but he's totally changed from when I used to watch him. And you can't get the Stephen Thompson body kicks out of the way. He was falling over all over the place. Stephen Thompson made a piece of art out of him and beat the shit out of him years ago. And then he goes on to get a fight against Ben Askren, and land one of the craziest knockouts out there, within seconds of the fight starting, and his shares went up, his stock went up, not shares, his stock went up, and all of a sudden he's Jorge Masvidal, he's the fucking man, yada yada yada. Yeah, well then he had some fights that he shouldn't have been in, and we watched him fight Nate Diaz, and he won the BMF belt based on just doctor stoppage, the cut. But you guys got to remember, everybody that fights Nate Diaz beats the shit out of him in the beginning of the fight. It's not the beginning of the fight where Nate Diaz wins fights. It's the end, and there's nobody that can endure the damage that he can endure. There's nobody that can that has the stamina and the energy that Nate Diaz possesses. You can't kill the guy unless the doctor steps in and says, "Hey, this guy's done," you know. Or you're Josh Thompson and you get a head kick, the one time ever, right? But I don't think that Jorge was going to win that fight. When they separated and they went, back to their corners, and it's just hard for me to remember, but I feel like it was like after the third round, we were going into round 4 and 5. Nate was like, "Oh, okay, I'm here. I'm ready to fight." And yeah, it took a little ass beating in the beginning, but I'm awake. I'm pissed. I'm ready to go. These are my rounds. And the doctor walks in and goes, "It's over." Meanwhile, this guy is holding his hands above his head and standing in the corner because he just wailed on Nate for 3 rounds. That was his demise, and he was saved by the ref, in my opinion. Anyways, he's fighting Gilbert Burns. I have money on Gilbert Burns by knockout, and I have money on Gilbert Burns by submission, both. Yeah, me personally, I'm not suggesting anybody copies me. I lose more money than anybody, but yeah, I'm gonna say that Gilbert might just knock him out. He might just knock him out, and if that doesn't happen, that's the thing about Gilbert Burns, man. What do you do? How do you beat him? How do you beat? I mean, you have to be a superior wrestler, which is really, really hard. But like, I'm not saying superior to him. I'm just saying like superior to other people. Look at the way Khamzat beat him. That was a tough fight, and Khamzat had to implement wrestling, which is tough against a black belt in jiu-jitsu like Gilbert Burns. And Gilbert did some tricky things in that fight where Khamzat, was actually, somebody was possessing a grappling threat to Khamzat. But how do you beat him, man? I mean, he can kill you with one punch, and he can kill you if you go to the ground. You're not safe anywhere. And when you're Jorge Masvidal, and to be honest, you're not that good of a striker, and you're definitely not that good on the ground. What are we doing here? Number 5 versus number 11. It's going to be an absolute murder scene when Gilbert Burns is done with Jorge. But there's always puncher's chance. Jorge's got hands. He could land something crazy cool. He's a cool dude. He's groovy. He does some weird off-the-wall shit, and he could land something crazy. But, yeah, I don't see that happening. And then, the final fight of the night, Alex versus Izzy. I'm not the biggest fan of Israel Adesanya. I just never have been. I don't like his attitude. I don't like his persona. I don't really like Alex Pereira that much. I don't know that much about him. He's had like 4 or 5 fights in the UFC, and he's champion. I don't know that, and he speaks Brazilian, so there's that. I don't understand what he's saying half the time. So it's hard to get a good personality read on the guy. But he seems like a nice family guy. Seems like an honest dude. Doesn't want to start any shit with anybody. He just wants to come fight, and he knocks people dead. But he's just not the striker that Israel Adesanya is. Argue with me. Israel Adesanya, in every fight they've ever had, has been the better striker. He's been more technical. The problem is the power output. When you got a guy like Alex that can drop you dead with one shot, it's really hard. I mean, Izzy's got that one-hit power too, in a way. He's done it before with Rob and all that. He's got that power, but the way that he fight, Izzy's not looking for the knockout necessarily. He's looking to outstrike you. And that's dangerous when you have to go 25 minutes with a guy that can land one punch. This fight that just took place with Alex and Izzy, Israel Adesanya, he won 23 minutes of that fight. It was 2 minutes that Pieta won. The last 2 minutes, right? So he won the most important minutes of the whole fight. He got the TKO and he won the fight. So I'm not discrediting Alex at all. But what I am saying is Israel is the better striker. And if you look at, the betting odds and stuff, the odds makers, they think Israel's going to take this to a decision. It's tough because, you got two guys that can knock each other out. It's true. It almost went to a decision last time, but it almost didn't. It almost didn't. If you remember, Israel Adesanya had him shooken up after one of those rounds. Alex was saved by the bell. And I don't remember the round. It was the first or the second round or something like that. Israel hit him, and he was fogged, man. He was done for. His legs were wobbly. He could hardly walk back to his corner. The bell is what saved Alex. So don't get it twisted. Izzy can knock this dude out, and I put money on it. I actually think that Israel Adesanya will win by knockout. I genuinely do. And, I'm not a big fan of him, but I think that that's what's going to happen. I don't know. I don't see this being a decision. I just don't. I saw it being a decision last time, but after watching that fight and seeing that both these guys can land those shots, I mean, I knew that, but like seeing it happen, Izzy stuns him and then he ends up TKOing Izzy. It's tough, dude. When you got two guys in there with literal weapons and two of the best to do it, that's tough, man. It's scary. But it does only take Alex one shot to end the fight, And I know that's the case for everybody, but it's never been more true than with that gentleman. But yeah, excited to get into the fights. Excited to see what happens. Again, my predictions are Izzy by knockout, Gilbert Burns by murder. Rob Font might take the kid, even though I love Yanez. Christian Rodriguez might beat Rojas Jr. and get the upset everybody else out there, right? Calvin Gaslam's my guy. That's all I'm gonna say. Hope he wins. Michelle Watterson, whatever. Meerschaert, submission. Chase Sherman probably gets knocked out. Loopy, she's gonna do her thing. She's gonna win. That's it. Cheers. Hope everybody enjoys the fights. Thank you if you did watch this.